Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be discussing Vampire Weekend's Only God Was Above Us. Enjoy. Let me just preface this review by saying that this is my first Vampire Weekend album. Never heard anything from them before apart from one song, which is called Unbelievers. And I thought that song was okay. It's pretty good, but it wasn't something that, stick out to me or wasn't my favorite thing in the world, And then I was on Twitter and I saw a bunch of people discussing this Vampire Weekend album, and no one, the title was always, the new Vampire Weekend album is fire. As an enjoyer of art, I had to listen to it, even though I think their name is stupid. The album's great. Let's start that way, and let's get right into the intro track, which is Ice Cream Piano. What a way to ease into the album. This sort of soft rock, loud pop mix in the song, and the way that it progresses from that short, slow intro into that insane instrumentation at the end. And I think that's something super strong on this album, and something that makes it stand out for me is the fact that none of the instrumentation sounds like it's coming straight from an instrument. It's all overly mixed, and there are effects everywhere, and it kind of sounds like it's coming out of the back of your brain. It's beautiful. I think whatever plugins these guys use to make their music, next level. And if they're doing it raw with just adding this amount of distortion and this amount of vocal tuning, that's beautiful. Ice Cream Piano is a beautiful track, and for a while is what I had on loop all day, every day. I was just listening to this album, and Ice Cream Piano is the one that kind of, rode with me a bit because of that chorus. It's just so good. And the second track on the album is Classical. And Classical is a song that continues the theme of being, how do I say this? Social commentary, yes. The album, there's a lot of social commentary on this, and there's a lot of self-reflection as well, and how we as individuals fit into our environment, and how that environment is changing, and all the social issues and isolationism, things like that. And Classical, well, the song is called Classical because, as the chorus states, it's a song about how with time being rude and being individualist and only caring about yourself, putting yourself first before others has really become what is classical, what is accepted in our society. And I'm not gonna pretend like this is some super heavy-handed political commentary, or that Vampire Weekend are gonna save us from the capitalists, but it is a nice sentiment to have as someone who is just going along like everyone else. It's nice to have art that conveys how we feel inside, and Classical is a song that does that very well. It's instrumentation and the guitar, it's just there's so much swag involved. Come on, this album, there's so much swag, there's so much style and substance here. It isn't just noise, it's noise that is done well. It's pretty cool noise. I'm gonna listen to the song again because now it's stuck in my head. So let's take a break. The beautiful guitar and mixed with the vocals. There's so much I can say about the vocals on this album. I kind of love that soft voice. Kind of reminds me of Thom Yorke of Radiohead. And I think he uses his voice as an instrument very well throughout this album, and you can probably hear that in the part where the chorus transitions into the refrain on this album. Just the switch in tone, it's subtle, but it's beautiful. And another song that has that heavy bass on it, and that bass is everywhere over this album, and I love that. Big fan of bass. And that transitions straight into Capricorn, which is our next song, and Capricorn is beautiful. this is the song with the most plays, and I understand why. That chorus is just so good. Something that this album really does well is that dreamy feeling. I mean, using the astrological sign, the Capricorn. You know, I'm not a big believer of astrology or anything, but I think there's something poetic about, you know, that chorus, Capricorn, the year that you were born. It's just, I know it's really simple, just rhyming, but the vocal inflections and the cadence and the way that it matches with the instrumentation makes it so effective. And there's almost an instrumental vibe that is probably the worst way to say it. There's probably some musical term out there that I am ignorant of that'll explain this better. But his voice, yes, I'm saying this again, his voice being used as an instrument is just really effective. Capricorn is a song that really benefits from that. The dreamy atmosphere and the lyrics about, you know, Capricorn and the fact that they were born late in December, because I had to Google this, so I'm not really good with astrology. You kind of get it from the chorus of the song with the lyrics up here, where it says, you know, the year that you were born finished fast and the next one wasn't yours. So kind of, let's say if someone was born at the end of a year, that year isn't really theirs, and they miss out on being able to experience that year as it goes on straight to the next one. And yeah, there's just something beautiful and poetic about that. I wasn't even born in December, I was born in October, but yeah, something about this stuff. Next on the album is Connect, and this is a song that is yet again beautiful. I love the jazzy feel of this track, that piano, and again, that heavy bass. I don't know what it's called, the type of bass. I should check actually. I'm gonna keep mentioning it, may as well find out what it is. It's called upright bass. Here's a picture of an upright bass. I just learned something new. And yeah, so the piano mixed with the upright bass and those kind of like poppy synths that are all over this track. It's gorgeous, and I love the way that they change up the voice in the chorus, those effects that are going on in the voice. I think that part is beautiful. It's almost robotic, and I don't know if this is intentional, but the way it comes off to me is that the theme of the track is someone who has lost that connection with society and the world around them. And, you know, sounding like a robot is a great way to convey that. Next track on the album is Prep School Gangsters, and it's another one that just has a line that can't get out of my head. It's just something people say, you know, that part of the song, just over and over again. It's just in my head. I can't stop saying it, and it's because this album is just so catchy. Every track is catchy, every song is catchy. It's always something that you want to repeat in your head. And it isn't just regular, here, we'll get this stuck in your head pop like something like Meghan Trainor. No, it's actual beautiful art that gets stuck in your head because it's good. That's how I feel about this. And yeah, Prep School Gangsters is a song about the class divide, and you know, it's another social commentary bit. But I kind of enjoy that he doesn't go really deep into these concepts. It's just really softly brushing along, like, hey, life sucks because of this, doesn't it? And then have that thought with some beautiful instrumentation. I hope that when I move my hands like this, you guys understand what I'm trying to say. I hope that you can see like sadness, like sad political thing, and then beautiful, dreamy, sweeping lines. I have no idea if this comes across as anything legible to you guys, and if it doesn't, I'm sorry. But this is how I picture it in my head. Yeah, the album just continues with this light social commentary and beautiful, dreamy, atmospheric music. And I think the lyricism and the vocal inflections are just as good as anywhere else on the album. And I really do love this album. Like, it's beautiful. Please listen to this album. If you're all the way, well, it's like the 5th track on the album, and if you're here halfway through the album watching this video and you're not convinced to watch the album, let me convince you now. Watch the album, listen to the album. Please listen to the album. It's beautiful. It's really good, and I wouldn't be sharing it with you if I didn't think it was beautiful. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Its next track on the album is The Surfer. This is another dreamy, psychedelic almost track with the long, sweeping instrumentation. You know, when I hear the song, I picture the Silver Surfer from the Marvel Comics. Yes, I'm a nerd. Flying through space, just calmly and slowly. And that's a beautiful feeling to have. And maybe they thought of the Silver Surfer when they said the Surfer. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. But I think of that, and it makes me happy. Because I'm a nerd. But me being a nerd doesn't take away from the fact that the chorus on this is beautiful. The sweeping instrumentation, it's almost like something they'd listen to on a beach as a surfer. But like in a sad, pathetic kind of way. Not in an empowering way. With the lines like, the California king can't forget the shells around his neck. I am butchering this, but the correct lyrics are on the screen, so you'll know what I'm talking about. And yeah, it's everything here, all the lines, all the music, it's like light poetry. I don't know how to explain that anymore without it sounding like I'm insulting it, but I'm complimenting how light it is. I swear it's a compliment. And the Surfer serves as a soft, almost interlude as we go into the absolute insanity that is Gen X Cops. Gen X Cops starts with this incredible guitar riff, which sounds like this. And that riff leads into some more poetic and beautiful socio-economic discussion about how Gen X has kind of messed up the world for millennials and Gen Z and Gen Alpha and so on, where the infrastructure was built by them and we're now expected to just deal with it and, you know, pick up their pieces, spend $1 million to buy a house and spend, you know, extortionate amounts of money on food. But yeah, I don't want to get really sad and stuff. Talk about how the world is a messed up place. Because how can it be a messed up place when you can listen to Gen X Cops by Vampire Weekend? And the next track on this album is Mary Boone. I see a lot of people say that this is a weak point on this album, and I completely disagree. It's beautiful. And, you know, I don't know if this character of Mary Boone is real or not. If this is a pop culture reference and I'm missing it, I'm sorry. But I refuse to Google something where I have an image in my mind, okay? Yeah, the way the singer Ezra, it's a weird name. I'm just gonna go back to the singer. Should I say Ezra instead? Okay, Ezra. The way Ezra sets the scene here, a new immigrant floating into New York, and that's how I like to imagine it. Like the messed up boat trip is more like a soft float on a boat. Running the pier, entering New York, and just trying to make it in that big city. And the way that Ezra's relationship with this character is touchy and almost sad. Yeah, this is an album that has a lot of sad moments, but I think those sad moments are justified in the way that they're conveyed. Because even though there is a lot of sadness and almost not bitterness, there's kind of like the sadness of how society has been built and culture has been built, but it doesn't feel bitter. It doesn't feel like, oh, darn you, older generation, for what you've done to me. Because even on the track Gen X Cops, he talks about how in time and as he's grown older, he's seen that there are ways to circumnavigate the issues that the past generations have created. And there's always beauty to be found in these sad, solemn moments. And that's something I really appreciate, and I think is done very well on this album. And the next song is Pravda, which is something that our narrator constantly tells us is just the Russian word for truth. It continues the theme of moving abroad and living in a new place, a lot of references to New York culture and Russian culture. And yeah, it's beautiful. I love the line, I'm leaving at the rising of the moon. I love the way he says rising, kind of rolls the R there. I'm a man who values weird sounding things, and that's a weird sounding thing that I like the weird sound of. It's a fun sentence. Pair that along with the beautiful instrumentation yet again, and the soft spoken lyricism, and it's just another banger for me. And the album ends with the almost 8-minute track, Hope, which is just the most beautiful way to end this album because, I've mentioned it is very socially charged. I'm misremembering the word, but yeah. Because it talks about a lot about society and culture and the way it's not going so good. But in the end, our narrator mentions that he just wants to let it go. The enemy's invincible, the war on culture and the war on capitalism, the war on modern society. It's not our war to win. And that's something I can agree on. We just have to accept the hand that we were dealt and learn to move on. He hopes that we let it go. And I will not be letting go of the fact that you still haven't thought about listening to this album. What is wrong with you? Is this not enough for you? Do you not value me as a person? Listen to the album now, right now. Actually, when this video ends, the second this video ends, you open whatever streaming app you use to listen to music, or you open YouTube or something, and you listen to this album. I'm serious. I've had this album nonstop in my head since it came out, and it came out in early April. I haven't been able to stop, okay? I've listened to at least one track on this album every single day since I first heard it. It's that good. This album is amazing. Vampire Weekend have dropped probably one of my favorite albums of the 2020s so far. Well, for sure one of my favorite albums. It could be my favorite album. Big fan of indie rock. Big fan of soft political commentary. And I'm a big fan of hope. And this album gave me a lot of hope. Listen to it, please. And if you hate it, that's on me. Just let me know. But I doubt you will, because I was really touched by this album. And in the end, if you waited this whole time for a rating and a review, album is amazing. Modern masterpiece in my eyes. And rating is on the screen right now. A 10 out of 10. Incredible. Vampire Weekend have done it. I'm now gonna listen to their entire discography, because if it's half as good as this, I'm happy. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon. Please listen to the album. Bye.